Hello and welcome back to the Chat K podcast, where we usually discuss media in the form of topical-based discussions or reviews. I'm your host, Dragon King Thomas Hughes, and before I get into the actual topic, I'd like to apologise for basically no episode going out last week. Originally, 100% was planned for that Connor episode, the quiz, but as the week went along last week, Connor got a bit more ill, and his voice pretty much just started going to the point of there's no chance in hell he's going to be recording this. So I was like, okay, it's fine. Shit happens. People get ill. I mean, I'm currently slightly ill, but show must go on. And I was pretty much planning to just take over and just do the solo one, just pick any topic. Wasn't sure what, but it's just going to be something. But at the moment, I'm struggling to find a sleeping pattern. So by the time I'm getting either back home or waking up in general, I'm never really having the energy to sit down and actually record one of these. I mean, I just got better enough energy to sit down right now and do it. But hey ho, I'm not fucking missing 2 weeks. I said I'd pretty much try and get a podcast every fucking week this year. I've missed one, but I'm not missing another one. So yeah, I apologise for that. But anyway, so that episode with Connor is going to be more than likely later this month, because I do have one possibly coming with Alex, which I've discussed to him lately. That should be an interesting topic to talk about. But first, we're not looking at the future, we're looking at right now. And today's topic is a review, and that is on Dune Part 2, the recent released second chapter of the currently planned Dune trilogy. And before I get into the second one, I'll talk about the first. I mentioned the first one because I've not really mentioned it on the channel before. Obviously, I saw the first one when it first came out. I didn't see it in cinema. I think the first time I saw the last one was at home. I saw it obviously on TV screen, and I remember at one point just nodding off, because that's what sometimes I do late at night watching films. I'll put a film on and I fall asleep. When I was rewatching it recently, I don't remember falling asleep through too much of it. There's like a really slow one section which I think I fell asleep during the move, which in the first one involves basically them sort of camping in the desert. I think that's the point I fell asleep at, but then I woke back up, so it's not too much of a fucking hassle. But I remember when I watched that one, I remember finishing watching it being like, it's good. I wouldn't say it's the greatest movie I've ever seen of all time. I wouldn't put it in that category. I put it in a pretty much, it's a good movie. It's got good visuals. It's got good music. It's got good cast. It's got an intriguing story, but that's it. I wouldn't really say it's outstanding. I definitely watched it and went, this would probably be better on the big screen, especially with the visuals and the audio. It definitely suited more of a big screen than just my small setup. And as soon as it obviously announced part 2, I was like, I gotta watch that one in cinema. I've got to watch that one. I didn't get a chance to watch the first one because that was at the point of, it's still kind of COVID era, and it wasn't really till, I think, I want to say November the first one came out, and if it did, it wasn't really till a month later that I went back to cinema, which is obviously with Spider-Man. Spider-Man was what brought me back into cinema. And so when this first got announced, the trailer came out and everything, I was like, I've got to go watch this. I need to. And I had the chance of watching it last week, but I never got a chance to rewatch the first one because I need to rewatch it with Hayden, because obviously she hasn't seen it. And I mean, she's still confused now, but I didn't want her to be more confused watching it, so I went, okay, we'll rewatch it. I was like, okay, I've got a week off next. Well, near enough a week off next the following week. I was like, we'll go then. We'll go and watch it on the Wednesday, right after. Well, I say the day after my driving test. It could either be a celebration of passing or just me being depressed and going, fucking, I'm gonna watch a movie because I failed. I passed, FYI. Very happy with that. And so we watched. I got back on Tuesday. We watched the first one again. I watched it with her, and I had pretty much the same opinion coming out of my second viewing of it. It's good, not great. She says, I think her opinion was a chunk of it is very boring, and I can understand that if you're not fully into it. So yes, obviously we went to watch it on Wednesday. About 6 people in there, I think, in the screening, which again, midweek, lunchtime-ish. It's not going to be fucking very busy, and just sat through the whole thing. And honestly, it eats the first one up for breakfast. It's so fucking good. I can understand this hype, this rave that people are talking about it, and they're giving it really good reviews. I can understand that because this movie is phenomenal, from its visuals to its score, again to its acting, and this time to its actual story. Because I think the story for this one is a lot better than the first one's story. Don't get me wrong, the first one's story is interesting, but it's, as Hayden said when we came out of it, because the first one's problem is it's a world builder. It's got to build the world up straight off the bat. So it's always going to be that fighting battle to basically just to get this sequel ready to go. And it, as I say, that's what it does. It builds the world up. It sets up the sequel, and it allows us to breathe. Yeah, it's still a fucking long movie. It's like 2 hours and 40 odd minutes. It's so fucking long, but that's fine. It needs that time because there is a lot crammed into this movie. She said to me, she goes, it felt like there was a lot in this movie, and I was like, yes, I can definitely see that, because it obviously you're telling the story, obviously these Sam people, I'm going to call them, and not the Star Wars ones, even though at times it goes very Star Warsy with some shots, but still, obviously you got to tell these people who came into the very back end of the movie, like, of the first part. Yeah, they may have had like a little cameo early in the movie, but their proper, like their full arc in the story was at the end of the first movie, so there's not really much to say about them. And then obviously this one has to kick off straight away, like, okay, let's deal with them, let's show more about them, let's show these characters adapting to their way of life, how they're reacting to these outsiders joining them, the whole tribe itself. And as I say, it goes through all those motions. Then on top of that, obviously you got to reintroduce the villains, show what they've been up to since the attack in the first movie, and then obviously introduce more villains in that group. Obviously in this case, Austin Butler, who's fucking phenomenal. He's so fucking twisted and evil in this movie. Even if I can slightly hear that Elvis accent every now and again. Fuck, I can't get rid of that accent. But yeah, obviously it introduces him. And then on top of that, it also introduces some new characters in the form of the Emperor, who's played by Christoph Waltz. So, Christopher Walken, ignore me. Christoph Waltz is the fucking guy from Inglourious Bastards. Half asleep here. Mine's not getting actors right. So it introduces him. And as it introduces a few other characters related to him, because he's obviously the Emperor. And he's linked to everything that kicked off in the first movie. So it does a lot of new character introduction as well as re-character introduction, and it slowly tells a story of obviously the main character played by Timothée Chalamet, who's the character called Paul. Obviously gets a new name in this movie, but I won't go into too much detail with it. Obviously it shows him going through the motions of kind of becoming what was hinted at in the first one, if I remember correctly, which is basically essentially like the Messiah to these people. Essentially, he's Jesus to them, and it shows him going through the motion of becoming that by adapting to their way of life, and that's pretty interesting because obviously you get a lot of more to the sandworms, which in the first one it was literally that one sequence with the refinery when it obviously got attacked, and then towards the end of the movie, whereas the sandworms are quite well utilised, especially within that final act. And obviously they build up that utilisation early on by showing that what happens at act is it's something that these people are born and bred to do. They're born to survive in Arrakis and utilise its natural resource, the worms, for battle and shit like that. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see. Kind of reminds me of the Book of Boba Fett when Boba wrote the Rancor. Is it Rancor? Yes, I think it's Rancor. And he obviously wrote that, and it gave me those sort of vibes, but obviously on a much larger scale. And some fucking phenomenal shots and CGI. This movie just knows when its cinematography is just outstanding, which it wasn't the first one, and I think this one just tops it even more. And I can definitely see this being in the Oscar race next year. And I know obviously they pulled it from the cinema last year due to obviously the actor strikes, and I wanted obviously the actors to basically promote it. But I feel like that was a blessing in disguise from, because there's obviously with Oppenheimer being at obviously this current year's Oscars, it'd be very difficult for Dune to pick up a lot of awards. But I feel like pushing, obviously, it going out for next year's award ceremony, it will fucking do a killing if there's nothing big coming out. Because as I said, the reviews across the board for this film are just out of this world, and you can understand why, because this film is generally out of this world. And yeah, so it crams a lot in, and it does a lot towards the end to set up part 3, and it very clearly shows where it's going for part 3. It's not really hinted at; it's very clearly shown where it's going. And one of the funny things I find with this, which obviously me and Hayden pointed out as we left the film, was there was so many times when it felt like it was coming to an end. It's not the first film I've had this with. I've had this with many films. And you think, oh, that line of dialogue there, or that shot there, that's where it ends. The music's building up, and it's going to end, and then it carries on. You're like, okay. And it goes again, it gets to another point. You're like, okay, it's going to stop. No, it's carrying on. And it had so many of those moments towards the end where it looked like it was going to come to an end, and then there was still going to be like 10 minutes to go. But I felt like, I said to it did the right thing ending where it ended, because obviously if it ended where we thought it originally was going to end, it would have had the problem of having to do this ending as the opening for the next movie, which, yeah, don't get me wrong, would have been cool, but for the fact you sat through 2 hours and 40 odd minutes, well, at the point of that, it would have been maybe 2 hours 20, 2 hours 25, something like that. For the fact you've sat through that long, you want like a massive, massive action sequence. Well, you've had little glimpses of action throughout, a bit more, I'd say, than the first one, but you want like something big to end on, like a really big moment, a really big action moment, and this ends on that, and it was the right call for them to end on it rather than start in the next one, because it means then part 3 can literally start where it wants to go. It can start with the next big battle that's ahead, which was probably, as I say, is probably the right call, rather than just drag out part 2 into part 3 and have that part 3 suffer from having to start with that. Because the pace in this movie needs to end on that big moment. And yeah, there's a big moment that they could have ended it on, but I feel like just to give the audience here you go, something to take home right at the end here, something big for you. I feel like having a big action sequence to end on, it was the right call. And to be fair, they could easily start on another big action sequence where it fucking is kind of heading. So, you know. But yeah, it's solid, as I say. It's got really good antagonists this time. I think, obviously, it had the antagonist last time, but it wasn't really as heavily focused on them. It brought, obviously, it had Stellan Skarsgård, and you had, obviously, Dave Bautista. But it wasn't really fully focused on them. Obviously, it showed them when it required them for building up to the invasion. It showed them when, obviously, the invasion happened. It showed them post-invasion, but it never really fully had them front and center. These are going to be like a full-on. Oh, so what am I? I'm trying. I'm slowly losing my words here. How I'm actually trying to describe this. They weren't. No, I can't. No. What I say is, with this one, they very clearly build them up as, well, specifically Austin Butler, as a threat towards the main protagonist, whereas in the last one it was more a threat to, obviously, his dad's empire. Let's put it that way. They're more a threat to his dad's empire than they were for him, because they never really had him interact heavily with them. Like, it was more the case of everyone else fighting them, i.e. Jason Momoa, when in that whole sequence in the first one, he battled them. Obviously, his dad encountered them. I won't say battled. He encountered them in the first one, and then so it was all to do with everyone else really encountering, obviously dealing with them, not him. He was more the case of getting out of there with his mom. Whereas this one, obviously, it's more of his battle against this threat. So it definitely puts him more in a threat situation for him. And so then they bring Austin Butler in, which I wish they gave more screen time to. But when they definitely build up to him and Timothy's obviously battle. It's definitely worth the build up, but I just wish they gave some more, because the first time they introduced him, he's so psychotic, like he just murders a bunch of people, and it's just like, what the fuck? And then it basically goes into that arena scene that's in the trailer. Well, the shot at least that's in the trailer, but obviously there's more to the movie for that sequence, and it's such a good sequence. And as I say, I always wish they gave us more of him, because he was so fucking good. So they got a lot to do if they're going to have a villainous role in the next one. If not, it'd be more the case of a bunch of people are just the villains of it, rather than just they're clearly shining light on one that will cause a problem. It depends, obviously, how they're going to go with the third one. If they're going to do that the same as this one villain's the big problem, the rest of this is backing, or they're going to go with the case of all of them are the problem. But it'd be interesting to see how they handle that. Because I mean, it's going to be a couple of years till we get the next one. Cause, as I said, the first one was 2021. This one was 2024. Obviously, it was 2023 originally. So you're probably looking at another 2 years at least before the next one, which I'm fine with. If they can get the visuals as they're doing this, I'm fine with waiting another 2 years. I'm fine with waiting another 3 years for the next part. As long as they do it right and do it justice. Because this is building up to be a really good trilogy. And I feel like if I rewatch obviously if they release them all and I rewatch all 3 parts, I feel like I might get a bit more love for the first one. And I was hoping I get the same amount of love at the third one that I've got at this second one, because as I say, I walked out of it being like, that was just outstanding. That was probably the best film I've seen this year. It was just so fucking good. So yeah, it's funny though, because obviously I did see some clips from the original Dune a few days before I watched the new one, and the CGI in that, obviously it's 80s, so I can't really complain too much for the CGI. They definitely chose the better designs for the shields. I will say that in the new one, in the new 2 at least, compared to the original weird block people shields. What else do I want to say about this movie? Obviously, it's in the trailer, so if it's in the trailer, you will know Josh Brolin's back. Well, I only found out it was played by Patrick Stewart in the OG one, which is pretty cool. But obviously, he's back. Because to be fair, they never showed you him die in the part 1, so it makes sense that they can go, okay, here he is. He's not dead. So that makes sense, and it is pretty cool seeing him back, because obviously he has that charm. He has that, obviously, realistically, with Timothée Chalamet's character not really having, since his dad's dead, he's really his father figure. So I like the fact that I brought him back, and he's able to witness his rise, and he's trying to help as best as he can, to the point that he's looking at him as if essentially he's a duke is the word I think he referred to him as. Basically, he's looking at him like he would look at his father. He's basically the top dog, and so it's really cool to have Josh Brolin back, and he does a really good job of this. I think everyone does a good job of this. Timothée Chalamet is really good in this, from his more relaxed side of him early in the film to his obviously more scared as it's going along to his more brutal badass towards the end of the film. Obviously, then Rebecca Ferguson's evolution as well is really good in this movie. Zendaya is really good in it. I can't think of the actor's name. Obviously, he played Salazar in Pirates of the Caribbean. I know he's become like a meme from this movie. He's really good in this, because you only got a bit of him last time, and he's really good in the last one. And he's so good that we get a lot more of him in this one. He's quite funny, and he knows when to be serious. So I like that. I say Austin Butler's great. Batista has a very small role in this, but he's still good in it. Stellan Skarsgård, phenomenal again. Trying to think who else is in this. Though we only get like a small amount of Christopher Walken, he's as good as he usually is in every film he pretty much does. Pretty much every actor nails this movie. Every actor and actress, they nail this movie, and they make it so much better. Which, I say, when you're watching the film, that's 2 hours and I want to say 47 minutes long. You need the acting to be fucking superb, or else it's the case of, why the fuck am I watching a 2 hour 47 minute film when the acting's shit? But it fucking nails the acting, and it just enhances the experience. The word I'm after there. So yeah. If I was to give this a rating, I mean, I said if you watched the episode when I reviewed, I think I did Argyle, Has-Been Hotel, and I did the Alan Wake American Nightmare game. Obviously, I said with Argyle, I said that set a bar for me. Though obviously a lot of people shit on that movie. It did fucking terrible at the box office to the point that they just put it on digital to try and get some money back. Because it's a massive bomb and massive. It just, everyone just hated on it. I fucking loved it. And I said it set a bar for me for this year. Obviously, because that's how much I loved it. But for me, this goes above that. It sets a new fucking bar. That's got to be beat. And again, the only thing in my mind is going to beat this is probably the Deadpool Wolverine movie, because that trailer looks hilarious and amazing. So that's the only thing for me that's going to probably beat this bar. But saying that, for now, Dune Part 2 for me gets a 10 out of 10 because it's just an outstanding film. If you haven't watched it yet, go to the cinema and watch it. It's better to watch it on the big screen because it's the better experience for a film like this. It's a film. See, every film is designed for, obviously, every cinematic film is designed for the cinema. That's the whole point of them going to cinema. But I think when you watch some, you can go, I could have got away with watching that at home. For example, not too long ago, I watched the movie Night Swim. I watched it at home when obviously went on digital, and I finished watching it. I was like, it was meh. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. But it's not a film that I would have jumped at the gun to say, watch that in cinema. It needs that fucking big screen experience. It's not one of those films. It's literally a film, as I say, you can literally watch when it comes out on digital, when it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray, 4K, when it comes out on one of them, when you can watch it at home, it's fine. Whereas this feels like you need that big screen experience. You need the big surround sound speakers. You need if you fucking got a big surround sound system in your house, you can watch it at fucking home. That's fine when it comes out on digital. That's fine. But obviously, until then, if you have, obviously, while you're waiting for it, just go watch it in cinema. If you don't mind long, at times drawn out films, which at this point does at points just draws it out, then this film is right up your alley. If you hate those kind of films, then stay away. But watch something else. What else is in cinema right now? That horror film Imaginary comes out, I think, and I think there's still a few like films that have been out the last few weeks that are still lurking. Just go watch one of them. But if not, go watch Dune Part 2. You won't be disappointed, and you'll walk away saying that was a visual treat. Hopefully, you walk away saying it's a visual treat. Unless you walk out and go, that was shit, then that's your opinion. And yeah. So yeah, 10 out of 10 easily for me. Would recommend seeing it in cinema on the biggest screen you can find. I wish I watched it in IMAX, but the problem is the closest IMAX for me is like pushing an hour away, and it's just like I ain't traveling an hour to go watch a film. I don't mind traveling 20 minutes, which is what it takes me now. I don't mind that, but I ain't traveling a fucking hour. But if I could have, I would have. That's basically what I'm saying. So yeah, I've still got about 7 minutes to kill on this. What can I say to kill 7 minutes? I can give some gaming news because I know they just announced a release date for Ghost of Tsushima on PC. I thought that was pretty cool when I saw it. Obviously, I saw it pretty much straight after I watched this. Actually, I got home and I saw it on YouTube pop up, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I got a message this morning from Connor being like, well, I can finally see what the hype's all about. And I was like, it made me want to fucking replay the game. That's how much the fucking them just saying it's going to PC. It made me really want to fucking reinstall the game. Problem is, I've got enough storage for when Rise of the Ronin comes out in a couple of weeks, so I've got to save it for that. So if I'm gonna play it again, I'd have to just pick another game and uninstall it, because I say I really want to play Ghost of Tsushima again because of this. And then again, I wanted to play it again ages ago. I just never got around to going through it a second time because there's that many fucking other games keep popping up that I just got distracted with. And obviously, when the Iki Island thing came out, obviously straight away I was like, okay, I've got to do that because it's a new expansion, so I jumped on that. But then even after that, I kept looking like I really want to play it again. I really want to go from the start, and I actually want to play it in Japanese this time with subtitles. because obviously, especially after watching Shogun recently, because that fucking show is so good, so fucking good. If you haven't watched it, go on Disney Plus or whatever it's released on in other countries. Go watch it on there because it's so good. It's all Japanese pretty much, apart from like one character's dialogue. Actually two, because the one who interprets him sometimes also speaks English. It's phenomenal, especially if you like, say, like Ghost of Tsushima, you like these samurai type projects. It's definitely up there. I say, what obviously seeing the trailer for Ghost of Tsushima and watching Shogun at the same time, and knowing Rise of the Ronin's coming out, it just make me go, I need to fucking install Ghost of Tsushima again. I need to play it again. I will at some point. I'm currently in the middle of fucking 2 games at the moment. I'm currently in the middle of playing the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I managed to get that. Not the Ultimate Edition, but the Gold Edition for like 50 quid, which I thought was alright. And I've been playing that. I think I played about, I swear it says I played about 20% of the story on it. And it's fun. It's just Far Cry in space. As I'm playing it, I'm generally seeing the Far Cry vibes from it. I'm generally seeing some Assassin's Creed vibes. Basically Ubisoft games in general. I'm seeing a lot of their vibes within this game. It's a fun game. I wouldn't have paid fucking 90 odd quid for the edition I brought off the bat. No chance. I held off really for a decent sale, and I thought 50 quid for the gold edition with the season pass is a decent sale. Because I like Avatar, I like the visuals. It's just like Dune. It's a film that relies on its visuals heavily because it's a very drawn out fucking film, and it's a film that's more designed for watching on a big screen. And so the game's entertaining. I haven't got too far into it, but I've pretty much got to a point there where I'm hopefully gonna get, obviously, be able to fucking fly places, get places quicker. Because at the moment, early in the game, you just spend most of your time fucking running around. It's such a pain in the arse. Whereas when you say like you play like Far Cry and even Assassin's Creed lately, early on you're still getting horses, you're still getting cars, you're still getting boats, you're still getting some sort of vehicle to get around with a lot quicker. Whereas this, you're fucking running half the places, which kind of feels right because obviously being Avatar can kind of run up the trees and shit like that. But at the same time, you're like, well, I know they also ride stuff. It's like I want that experience. I want to fly around. I want to fucking ride a weird looking horse creature. Hopefully I can get to that point at some point. And then the other game I'm playing at the moment is Dead Island 2, because obviously that came to Game Pass out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, I almost brought it over Christmas. I'll keep it going Game Pass. And again, it's another one that isn't outstanding. I probably wouldn't have brought it outright when it first came out. But it's still a really fun game. It's very hack and slashy. It's very running around, drop kicking zombies, fucking making funky ass weapons. A bit, obviously, again, like the first one, a bit like Dead Rising. You're making stupid weapons, but not as Dead Rising level of stupid, more as, say, in line with the first one, stupid, just like optimizing a weapon. So, you got a machete, there you go, you put some electric on it, so when you're slashing, it gives some jolt damage to the enemy. You've added like something on it which adds more fucking slicing power. It's got some cool stuff, and obviously I like that it does tie back into the first game and Riptide. It doesn't just ignore it like I thought it was going to. I generally thought it was just like kind of just going to get to a new setting and just kind of either blatantly ignore or just basically slightly mention, oh yeah, this isn't the first instance that we've known to. But obviously this one, of course, brings back a main character from the first 2 games who actually acknowledges that, obviously, the previous game, and apparently if you speak to him at certain points, he does explain slightly about some of the other characters if they survived or not, which from what I've read they apparently do. So obviously if you've got Game Pass, fucking whack it onto install it. It's fun, a game that you basically just go around fucking up some zombies. What more do you want from a zombie game? Especially a game that took forever to come out. You just want something that you can say is fun, and I think this is pretty fun. Running around bashing zombies over the head with fucking hammers, fucking going more Michael Myers with a kitchen knife on them. I think the go-to weapon I'm using at the moment is what am I using at the moment? I think it's like a fucking a pirate sword, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I should do. Obviously, I'm fucking going to be jumping onto the WWE game soon, which obviously, if you follow my FEW stuff on this channel, and obviously the 2 shows I do on Fate Leather Studios, link to it. Obviously, this month is also the commentary's all done. I've got more uploaded for the Bel Air Studios channel. I've just got to upload Proving Ground for this month, and then next month I've got the 2 Sunday Night Brawl shows done. But of course, I did them out the way, so I can then obviously I'm going to record the commentary for them, and I'm going to then fully focus on the new WWE game to make the characters. Trying to make arenas this time again, because I did it for a bit last time, but then it got to a point of I either forgot or it just wasn't working fully. So I'm knuckle down getting all that shit done before the end of April, since obviously the April shows will, just like last year, kick off with the new game, only because there's fucking some decent new match types in the game, and I'm just like, I kind of want to use them for storyline purposes, especially the gauntlet match. That's fucking something I could have used so many fucking times, but I couldn't because it wasn't in the old games. Casket match is pretty good as well. But yeah, so obviously if you follow that, I'm going to switch into 2K24 at the end of April going forward. I might stick with 2K24 even next year, unless, just like this one, they announced there's some new match types which give me better storytelling capability. If not, I'll stick with this, because I say there's some decent match types. If they take these out, then I'll be like, well, I'm not fucking switching to another game. I'm sticking with this one. But we'll wait and see till fucking next year what goes on with that. That's what I did with this one. I waited for them to announce anything to do with 2K24 before I decided if I'm going to switch or not. And of course, they announced some decent stuff, so I'm going to switch. So yeah, anyway, that is it. If you've seen Dune Part 2, what do you think of it? Put your thoughts in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What do you like about it? What didn't you like about it? And what are you looking forward to seeing in Dune Part 3? Or even the Doom series? They're doing that, do with the sisters, I think it is. So what are you interested in that as well, expanding its universe? And yeah, obviously you can check out the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible, etc., etc. You can also check it out on YouTube here, where you get to see my ugly mug, sometimes Connor's ugly mug, sometimes Alex's ugly mug. Sorry, Alex, don't hate me on that one. And Connor, I'm just going to point that out there. And yeah, obviously that is it for this episode. Next week, I believe, is the one I'll be doing with Alex. And then I'm going to try and get the Assassin's Creed one out the following week. If not, I'll try and do that for next week, and then we'll see about that. But until then, I hope you've enjoyed. I shall hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.
If you like what you've seen, don't be afraid to throw us a little like and subscribe. That's always very appreciated over here. And, well, I'll see you on the next video.